Just wanted to give you a real quick overview on kind of the bare knuckle glove, kind of the history of where we started. We really started in the rodeo. We have bareback riders that basically have 8 seconds to feed their family, and if they can't hang on, they don't. And so there was a real quest. The guy that actually developed this glove owned a saddlery. His family owned a saddlery, so he had access to sewing machines and leather goods and everything. He literally whittled out a bunch of iterations of this glove. We'd go to the rodeo on the weekend, had them to his friends. Once they figured out what worked really well, they realized they were onto something. And again, they have 8 seconds to hang on to a wild animal bucking. The problem with most gloves is, if you look at a glove right now, they're made flat. And, obviously the question, what work do you do with a flat hand?
Right, nothing.
Nothing, you do nothing. And so the problem with this is they take 2 flat pieces of leather, they sew them together, and then they cut a great big hole here in the palm and put all the stitching on. And what happens is your glove, because it's made straight, kind of like a tube sock in the olden days. They don't make tube socks anymore either. They make fitted socks with a heel, a toe box, arch support. They even do left and right now on your feet. But you do all your work with the hand, and because it's flat like this, once you start to bend, you can see that all this puckering happens in here. And if you look through here, all this is puckering down here, and now I've got to squeeze extra hard to overcome not only the stretching on the top of my knuckles, but the bunching on the bottom. And so what we did is we took a glove, we took a leather work glove, and we figured out how to articulate the wedges or the fingers with these wedges. If you look at the wedges here, you'll see how they articulate. And you have 14 knuckles on your hand. What that translates to is when I can make a fist extremely tight, and you'll see as soon as I let go, there's no bunching right here, and there's no seams in the palm. This is called a wing thumb. And so if you look at this glove, this is all one piece of leather from here, all the way to here, all the way up here, and all the way down. The only stitching is right here, and it's put in a perfect spot right in the curvature of your fingers in the middle. So it's already tucked in there really nice, and it gives you better grip strength, less fatigue, better dexterity, because I can now wear a glove where my fingers literally are all the way at the very end, and I can actually pick things up and do some things without fighting the glove. And so instead of a flat, floppy piece of leather that's flat, I now have a glove that's pre-curved, that fits the ergonomics of my hand. It makes gripping easy. It causes less fatigue on my arm because I'm not overcoming the pack out and the stretching over the top. So what we did is we decided, listen, this is really revolutionary. So we patented the design. We call it our double wedge finger design. And then we put a wing thumb on it with no stitching, because your hands are naturally curved like this and your thumb sticks out to the side. So does that make sense so far?
Absolutely.
Any questions so far?
No, not yet.
Okay.
But I want to hear about your other gloves and
areas
that you support.
Yeah, so what we did is once we realized we were really onto something, we took this and we converted it into other gloves, such as we have a barbed wire fencing glove. The biggest problem with a barbed wire fencing glove is you have most gloves like this would be converted into a fencing glove by putting a patch in here, sewing the patch on, and what happens with the barbed wire is it pricks and it pulls on all the stitching like that, and it starts to beat it up, and then your stitching falls apart, your patch comes apart, and so your ergonomics and dexterity of your hand fall apart. Whereas if you take this glove, again, it's made with the same exact features, where I've got a pre-curved hand. You can see how nice and curved that is. No bunching in here, and I have great dexterity. I can now work on a barbed wire fence. I can grip and pull and squeeze, and it's because it's really extremely heavy, it doesn't poke through. I have dexterity to work with the wires and do my job without a lot of fatigue. So it's a very, very awesome glove. We call this our heavy duty fencing glove. We have a sticker here that it shows all the features that come with this glove. Notice we've got a barbed wire down here. That's extra thick. We've got the double wedge design. It fits ergonomic fit. We have a strategic stitching, which is basically lack of stitching. So you can see in the hand here, we don't have any extra stitching. And you can see where the glove gets pricked. I mean, they'll certainly wear out, but man, you can be so much more productive with that. So we take that and let's talk about some utility opportunities. So linemen, they're the ones that keep our power on. So if you look at we have to support them. And so what they have is they have a safety officer now, and they have a glove that has to have a lot of requirements for them to be safe, to meet OSHA regulations and their company regulations. So what we created is what's called a lineman glove. So this is a long gauntlet. This comes also in a short glove. But let me just show you what we've done here with all this technology. This is a long gauntlet, so it comes up high. It's got a full, basically Kevlar liner. So this glove comes with a cut 6, an abrasion 4, and a puncture 4. We also just recently tested this lineman glove to an ARC Cal 40, which is an ATPV testing of Cal 40, which is very high. So it's fire rated, ARC rated, and then we've also got the option of taking this glove and adding a back of hand impact protection. So now you have a glove that does everything, and now you've got an impact protection on the back of hand, so it's an impact 2. So it's an amazing glove. So you have great dexterity. It's all made out of buffalo, which does extremely well even when it gets wet and dries out. It stays super flexible. Again, we've just added a few patches. We kind of talked down on that, but these guys wanted some extra patching in some key areas where they usually see abrasion, and they're not dealing with barbed wire, so these don't get pricked out. But now we've got a glove that basically meets all the safety requirements. Not only that, it's comfortable to work in all day. So wonderful. Really great option that way.
Is there any everyday utility
Yeah.
we can just quickly look at?
Yeah. So this is an everyday glove. This glove is our hybrid glove. What's interesting about this glove is not only is it a really cost-effective glove, but it includes all the wedging, all our same design, strategic stitching here in the crotch of the fingers. This is made out of buffalo leather. So again, super durable. Buffalo is more durable than cowhide. And then we put a 4-way stretch poly on the back. So this is very stretchy. And then we've added this, what I call a do-rag, because when I get hot and sweaty and I want to wipe my nose or wipe my forehead, this doesn't work, and either does leather. And so we've added this, and what it's made it into is like an everyday DIY, even farm and ranch. I mean, you can use this glove for everything. It doesn't stop, sharp pricking because of the 4-way stretch open back, but it's more breathable for hotter weather, but it gives you the durability of the all buffalo leather palm. And again, all our pre-curved design, like super great dexterity, and some really cool features like the do-rag.
So the do-rag is the best part.
Yeah, it's like, and what's really cool is I can take this glove and throw it in the washing machine.
Oh, wow.
And it's washable. So I wash them, hang dry them, so you don't kind of blow out the poly stretch. And they dry, they don't get hard and crusty. This water buffalo stays really nice and supple. And it's just a great everyday glove.
It's really great. Definitely helping so many people in so many different trades.
Absolutely.
Really cool glove.
Thank you. One more I'm going to show you. When you're talking oil, gas, and mining, they have a lot of really unique requirements. You can see this glove is got really heavy-duty palm. They have a lot of vibration issues that they have in oil, gas, and mining. And so we put some strategic padding here. But again, the thumb is a wing thumb, just like the other ones. We still have our wedge design, so you can see how it's pre-curved. We put the TPR back of hand impact. We've got a really cool little logo with our Bear Knuckles. And this just makes this an amazing glove. This glove has some really great features. It's a cut 7, ANSI cut 7. It's abrasion 5, puncture 4, impact 2, and it repels oil and water. So when I use this buffalo hide that's been impregnated with an oil blocker, I can do oil and gas and mining operations, get this really dirty, keep it clean, protect my hand, and it's just an amazing glove with a ton of dexterity. And again, all the design that we've built into it with our double wedge fingers. So we do this also in welding gloves, which is kind of crazy. So if you can imagine a welder spending his entire day trying to weld some product together. Again, here's a full leather welding glove with heat protection on the back of hand. But again, I've got my wedges, if you look in here, that allow some great dexterity. And it allows me to do my job and grab items and do my welding this
Especially you never have to take it off.
Yeah,
Could
yeah.
be a bad decision.
Yeah, exactly. So really what we drive to do here, Evan, is we really believe in, let's make a glove so comfortable and so useful that you don't need to take it off, which makes users much safer. And we find most of the injuries are happening when people take their glove off to do a job they can't adequately do with a glove on. And so
And that's when the injuries happen.
yeah, once we unlock that and we just bring the entire safety thing to the game, it is really a game changer for the users of our gloves. So that's really it. I mean, obviously we make the heavy duty buffalo fencing glove that I showed you, but we also make it in a lighter weight glove, which is an all around ergonomically fit work glove. So this glove is fantastic as well. It competes with our our cowhide glove, but this is buffalo. And I really like the feel of this. It's got, I mean, if you look at the palm, there's no bunching in here. I mean, I have full grip all the way. I can't even get anything in there. So I have great dexterity, great grip strength, less fatigue, and an all-around really great working glove that I recommend for a lot of applications. So anyway, yeah.
This is great. Definitely recommend Bear Knuckles.
Right on. I sure appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
All right, man.